El Dorado will be faster if we learn to work together, if we learn to cooperate, and if we learn to trust each other. And that the only way we can build a sustainable community is if all of these factors are in place. And so this afternoon, the gentlemen and ladies upstage here together with us, who are going to talk about ways we can work together, ways we can restore trust in ourselves and rebuild a sustainable Akwa Ibom state. I promised, and because I'm a promise keeper, I'm going to keep that promise. I had said we're going to take engagement. What do you expect of us here, up here, so that we don't run, we don't fire wide? I was given some names. Barrister Manolobo, I hope I got that right. Barrister Manolobo, if you're here, in just 1 minute. It's not here. It's stepped out, okay? Other members of the community, are there things you expect in line with the theme, please? Let's make this very quick. Other members of the community, I'm sure Anita will have a microphone. Okay, let's hear from Manti. Manti is not a member of the community. Manti is a shaman of the community.
Good afternoon, everyone. Member of this community.
Okay, sorry, Chairwoman.
So I quickly want to ask, because this question has bothered me before we even came to this forum. Every day people say, Akwa Ibom is going to be great. We keep speaking as if it's a future we will never see. I grew up to hear my father say it's a land of promises. I'm going into my 40s soon, and there's still so many promises. We have so much resource, and yet many more people than us are benefiting from these resources. I.e., during the agricultural summit, we thought about the fact that back in the day, when I moved back to Ibom about 12 years ago, I used to see Ibom people being the sellers of the grains. Right now, the House of Community, Mr. Ahmed Sanu, Mutanenka, sun tabbata sun dauka kasuwan nan. They have, okay. So,
I'm grateful for a few.
No, this is to show the diversity of our panel. These people have taken over that market. We don't have any sweat about that. But we keep saying that we need to strive. Are we saying that they are Ibom man? And that by man, I mean man and woman. In all our efforts and in all the things we do, we're not doing so much. On this panel, so I see an Igbo woman and people from the East. And I'm also asking, in this town, they are buying out our lands. They are taking over property. They are building estates. In this community, most of the people that are really doing very well, in quote, financially, are at the top tiers like Justice Otana, Mr. Soro, Honorable Onofio. Now, the middle seems to be as if it's a far reach to the top and very close to the ground. So today I would like to know, is it that we're not doing enough as a Ibom people? Am I not doing enough? Why do I have to struggle so hard to become a Mr. Soro? Why do I have to thrive or not thrive when okay, so it just is 3 sets of people that I think should be paid most: people in security, teachers, and people in healthcare. But these people, I do not think are paid that much. What do we need to do as people to better our lot? So Mr. Soro has spoken about all the tiers of business. I will leave this hall and write down so many points and drop my jotter. And tomorrow I am upset that Mr. Soro, my brother, is at the top of MTN. I am looking for ways to make sure that my brother doesn't go. I'm looking for ways to make sure Honorable Onofio does not go higher than he has. I'm looking for ways to make sure I shut down the foundation of the other brother that has led it. What is it that we can do differently to take away this thing that we do that is allowing other cultures to encroach on us and sustainably run their businesses in the same community, sustainably live in the same community we are upset about?
All right, thank you very much, Manti. When I said she was a chairman of the community, I know what I was saying. What her question has encapsulated the three items we want to ask questions about: working together. Do we have problems working with each other? Do we find it very easy to work with outsiders than to work with ourselves? Do we trust ourselves very easily? That's restoring trust. Do Akwa Ibomites backstab each other at the slightest opportunity? And then how can we rebuild our community and make it sustainable? Because you have a lot of businesses in Akwa Ibom, you have a lot of activities around, but then what sustainability plan do we have around this? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if there are any other contributions. I promised to take two. So for balance, let's take a guy. Then the black, if you come a little bit further. No, Anita, come this way. He's going to come down. Please keep it very brief, 1 minute, so we can head into the panel conversation.
Thank you. Standing on our resisting protocol. The reason why I'm here today, and I hope I'll be speaking for a whole lot of others, is I'd love to see this panel emphasize or chart a roadmap to understanding the essence of legacy in business and other ventures. I think most businesses in Akwa Ibom are all about start today, fend for today, and that's it. We need to begin to have businesses that stand the test of time, that are transgenerational. Businesses that go beyond the founder and the visionary. So what have others done differently that has kept the businesses going that most Akwa Ibom businesses have not done to keep them going? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much indeed. So we'll go straight to the conversations. Justice, I didn't want to start with you, but since you want to start, and because
when we came into this, let's say, then Cross Rivers from USA, I was not born here. I didn't go to school here. I arrived and I started working in Canada. I was privileged to meet in a member of the House of Assembly. I came into Uyo in 1980. Met a group of young people. One of the people I met at that time was now Senator Odo. A number of people. I came and saw Utu's motors. There was Isoro Brothers dealing in farm products. These were big companies. I happened to have known some of the children of the Utu's group of companies to the brothers. There was also an insurance company that was part of Utu, Destiny Insurance. My junior brother worked there. Utu was one of Pan's largest distributors at that time. But before you knew it, Utu that had a transport, a road construction, and an insurance business collapsed.
Sorry, sir, not to intercept, but then did he collapse, or was this collapse as a result of his demise?
Not demise, how? You see?
The business fell while he was still alive?
One thing that Uso told us was succession.
No, I'm trying to build on that now. I'm trying to establish the fact that
what followed was this. For Utu's group of companies, they are taking some facilities. I remember attending a Federal High Court. At the time, they wanted to sell some of their property. Where you have engine, was an estate. It's an estate. It was used as a mortgage. But they didn't pay. And this interest kept piling. When Federal Bank Tribunal came, they took an inventory of the assets. And got a lawyer. So the question of trying to sell this, to bail out. By the time the process was completed, the company had gone. Now for Iyanite's business, Iyanite was a transporter. Up here is here, there was a company, Kingsfield and Mansfield. You couldn't compete it in terms of sewing jacket, French suit. Nyaite himself was a trendy man. He wore the best dresses. That company was sewing from a very small place. But you don't know, in no time, it collapsed. The children of these people came. We met some of them. But it never entered into their head that what their father started, they could continue with it. You see, one thing that has been said about business is the need for a succession plan. Where there is no succession plan, there is no continuity. There's a company called Lisa B. Mills, one of the earliest companies in the West that produced yam flour, maize flour. It was formed in 1956, a year after I was born. That company is still in operation today. Why is it so? After their father established that company, the children went to university. At a point in time, there was always somebody from that family who returned to run the company, and others kept an eye on him. That business is ongoing. It's ongoing. Legacy. Where there is no attempt to preserve a legacy, it will collapse and fall into ruins. That's the unfortunate story of Akwa Ibom. That's the unfortunate story.
Okay, so you advocate continuity plans and all of that. I also appreciate very richly. I think I should sit down with you on business. I appreciate your knowledge of history. We need to learn about some of these businesses and why they failed. So we can, I'm very sure we'll advance further faster if we know why those who came before us failed. I'm going to start off talking about working together, and I'm going to start with the ones who are not from Akwa Ibom. So I'll start with you, Mrs. Jada. Mrs. Jada, I know you run one of the biggest electronics companies in Akwa Ibom State. So talk to me about how easy or not it is to work with Akwa Ibomites. And you have my permission to say anything.
Akwa Ibom, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much, Nancy, for the opportunity to be here. I share some things with you. You see, I have things people need to. So I'm hoping I can deliver on that today. So, is it easy doing business in Akwa Ibom State? I see people in Akwa Ibom State. So I would say the same way it is to do business any other place should apply to Akwa Ibom State. Before we came to Akwa Ibom, the truth is even the move to, I'm not from Akwa Ibom, I'm from River State. And we're running a business in Port Harcourt before a chance visit to Akwa Ibom State caused my husband to say, you know what, I work with my husband. So he said, this place, I just got into the state, it's not as busy as Port Harcourt, it may not have all the oil money that Port Harcourt, but I see it as a promising place that we should, attempt to do something. And yeah, it's running to 12 days to move to Akwa Ibom State. Is it easy? I won't pick Akwa Ibom State and single it out as a place where business is not easy to do. And I think the problem with business in Nigeria as a whole, it's a huge problem. It's not an Akwa Ibom thing, but there's something I would pinpoint to Akwa Ibom, and it is the pedigree of workforce that you have in Akwa Ibom State. It's easy to, in fact, every blessed day there are applications. And this is an overflowed discussion. It's an overflowed discussion. Staff, the mentality of the people who come to work and all of that. And because we have the justice here, sir, and not just youngsters, other people, I think it boils down to the general mindset of Akwa Ibom as a state. From parenting, just like you mentioned, the other names of companies that from parenting down to when we even talk to our children, what picture do we create for our children for their future? What is the picture in the first place you're creating? Everybody hears Akwa Ibom is a civil service state. I don't think the outsiders created that notion of Akwa Ibom. I think the people in Akwa Ibom state created that picture for themselves because that's the farthest they could see. That, oh, I finished, my child should go to this for security. That's what I hear when every person talks about the federal government employment for security. So that in itself has put the mindset of every youngster, has limited, I would say that, has limited. So for me, I'll start from parenting. What picture are we even creating? Now back to my business. How easy? It's not been very easy because it's been a great challenge trying to change the mindset of your staff. Now let me explain how we try to run business. I employ someone and you're not just a number to me, you're not just an employee to me. Because I know that today I'm supposedly your other guy, tomorrow you can be my boss. So I respect you. But one thing is to respect. The other thing is for the person you are respecting to even believe they are worth being respected and receiving the respect. So, recently I was talking to Max and I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done trying to do training, I'm done trying to do whatever it is any person will tell me. Because there is no receiving. You do all you do to train, to retrain, and then the same grammar you're speaking yesterday, you're speaking it again 6 months later. Sister, how do I go on? Okay. So I just felt like, you know what? So I wrote something down and I don't want to miss that point before I continue. As a prospecting employee and an employer, like I said, it's not been easy. But I think it's not saying it's not been easy, it shouldn't end there. It's what do I think will cause that shift in mentality. Now I say every employee, when you are going to a company or going through that advert for job and all of that, the mindset already is, if I get this job, I will do that as in they owe me. It is already the mindset of being owed by your prospective employer. And vice versa. The employer too is thinking, God, I will squeeze this employee to make sure I have profits. It's sad. But that is the mindset of many employers too. And they have their reasons for thinking this way. Because they have been there, done that, and the employee is on that part, you owe me. And I thought, what if we begin to think differently? Rather than you think, I owe you as an employer, and I think you owe me as an employee, which is valid. It's okay, it's valid. Because you're being paid for whatever work you're doing, yes, it's valid. But what if we begin to think beyond that and begin to think that, you know what, my service to you should be beyond the financial gains and benefits and everything. Because when you work in a place, you go back home beyond finances. What you take back home is beyond finances. Before I came to Akwa Ibom, I was working in Sterling Bank in Port Harcourt. Now there are things being a banker built in me that I know if I didn't work in the bank, I would not have developed those skills, that mindset and that attitude. Money can never be equated with that. So can we begin to change our mindset, thinking, yes, money has read up, but for goodness sake, there are some things ₦1 million in your pocket cannot change if your mindset has not been changed.
Okay.
So if we begin to see that, okay, I may not be earning the millions of naira because possibly my employer is facing all the challenges Mr. Osoro pointed out. And he's not making that money. Despite the fact you think, see, I'm now getting the job or the money, you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes. So right now is about the employer has to change his own mindset. But what if we both serve each other and see our service to each other as service to the community? What do I know? If I'm serving you right as an employee and you're serving me right as an employer, invariably we are building a community. that is bringing a mindset shift, both to the people who are yet to be employed and to can we serve each other and serve our community, and it changes the narrative. Thank you.
All right, let's you can wrap it up properly. I'm going to come to Mr. Ahmed Mustafa before I come to you, Minister. Minister Yawo, I'm going to talk to you about instilling, because I know you've been doing a lot about education, so I'm going to come to that. But Mustafa, I know, has been working a lot with entrepreneurs in Akwa Ibom State. I know he's been involved in trying, to create that paradigm shift and all of that. Talk to me about your experience in just 1 minute, please. How easy is it for Akwa Ibomites to work with each other?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invite to be here. First and foremost, I'd like to correct an impression. When you hear the name Ahmed Mustafa, I'm not a Hausa. I'm from Kogi State and the Ibiraigala combination, and my wife is Yoruba. And I was born in the north, so I speak Hausa, but I'm not a Hausa.
I like how issues
Yeah. Now, the point is this. I've been in Akwa Ibom since 2004. I had a break for 2 years and came back as a core member in 2008. And a year later, I began to work with INTEF in 2009. And I worked until February last year when I resigned voluntarily. Now, I've worked with more than 1,000 young Akwa Ibom people. And I like to say that it is true that people have said all manner of stuff about Akwa Ibomites, Akwa Ibom young people being lazy, being indolent, unwilling to work, have a poor attitude to work, have this lackadaisical attitude or ownership mentality without the adequate expression of execution. It sounds true, and it is true in some sense. But I'd like to share with us from my experience, especially with my last place of employment, which is in Texas. I resigned as a general manager. And I came into INTEF, I just did make reference to a few other organizations. I also came to understand about some of those organizations, and then we decided, okay, even though I'm not from Akwa Ibom, I had a mission, my first phase, which terminated February last year, to the Akwa Ibom people, but now I'm for the global world. Now, having been sent to the Akwa Ibom people, and I came into INTEF, we found out truly that these guys had an idea about work that was not positive at all. But you see, I came to also find out that it is as a result of the aging generation's idea, influence, statements, affirmations. Now, you see, where I hear elders in Akwa Ibom that I've interacted with say, in the Akwa Ibom, this affirmation that they are never going to do well. Yes, and then I came to realize that in working with these people, it is that negative mindset, orientation we push to them that they begin to express. But I left INTEF. INTEF is now run by the first generation sons of INTEF.
And they're doing fine.
They are doing well. And they worked with me for 4 years. They understudied us. I have quite a right now, there is no single non-Akwa Ibomite in INTEF. So when people say that, sometimes we need to balance it out. When you say the young people are not willing to work, we also find out what kind of work environment are we creating for the people to work? What kind of continuous orientation do we create for them? What kind of impression do we give them? That when they work for you and they're not adequately rewarded, or you seem to hide the proceeds, the result from them, like they don't understand what's happening, some of them turn to become thieves. Do you understand? Now you see, when I don't have a proper vision of my future and you don't seem to help me understand it, I will make do whatever is available. That's some end of stealing. I also have non-Akwa Ibomites who work with me at the management level who till today I'm still paying for some of the evils they did. So this thing is a two-way thing.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, while talking restoring hope, I think his comment has actually given me some hope in the situation. Put your hands together one more time for me. Thank you so much. I'll go to the CSP. Please get the microphone to him. We're still talking working together. Before they get to justice, I'm very sure they come to you first. do you get to find situations of Akwa Ibomites who have worked together and then maybe one person slighted the other, or they have issues, or maybe employers bringing employees for you to help discipline them, or employees reporting their employers for not doing well?
Let me just step it up from where Mustafa stopped. I see that a lot. A lot of backstabbing. It's quite unfortunate. And the truth is that is as a result of, it starts from the onset. To outwit the other. I've seen businesses that started very well, had prospect, but the issue of personal interest overriding the aim of the organization. So it occurs. I've seen the aspect of exploitation naked, where you work in a company and you are exploiting your personnel. It's rampant and it's bad. And the truth is that we are in a generation where the youths, you'll be so shocked what they know. They have a lot of facts. And I think we could reduce crime if we are transparent, accountable to those who serve. Thank you, please.
Put your hands together for me. I'll come to Queen Esther now. And from what from our conversations so far, we've established number one, that the mindset, especially that was passed on to us from the aging generation, is a major factor. We've also established that if given a bright work environment, and Akwa Ibomites can actually do well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to come now to Queen Esther. Queen Esther, you've heard everything that's been discussed. If you're to prefer solutions now, what education, what would you prefer? What should we do to help us, number one, as employees, learn, to imbibe the right attitude towards work? That is one. For employers also to learn to do what Mustafa did by making the work environment good enough to breed very, workable and useful employees.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the organizers of this event. For the employers or the employees, it begins from their education, whether formal or informal. A lot of times, I work with young people, and I find that most of the ideologies they run with, they pick them from anywhere. Our educational institutions do not address these issues from the cradle. There is what I call a sense of entitlement that I have observed in Akwa Ibom employees. I'm sorry, I am an Akwa Ibomite, but I have seen this. Most times we employ them. I find that the Yorubas, the Igbos, and other tribes that we employ behave differently. They are open to work, whatever the situation. Akwa Ibomites will ask you for what is in a particular task for them before they go out for it. For example, I work in a school, and if there is a need for the school to ask the teacher to stay an extra 10 minutes, they ask you what is the need for them. If you ask them to take up an extra responsibility, they ask you what is the need for them. They forget to understand that they would learn and build capacity from all of these extra responsibilities that they are taking up. So our educational systems should ensure that young people get the right orientation, beginning from our nursery schools, primary schools, and our secondary schools. For the employers, I also found that business owners don't undergo training. For the ones who own schools, they may have worked in the Ministry of Education for 35 years, and they believe they are automatically qualified to run a school. And then when they come, they stifle us. They stifle the younger generation, running with a very clear mandate. We know where the future is in education. And then they come to you with the 1975 mentality. And then they tell you the system must be run this way. And because you are a millennial, because you understand what 21st century education should be, you are innovative, you are creative, you go to them with these ideas and they tell you, sorry, we have to do it this way. So it, at the end of the day, affects our children.
That is why I appeal to parents. Do all you can to take your children to schools that the owners, not just the head, not just the one running the school, because it is the owners of the school that dictate for the ones running the school. Take your children to schools where the owners are enlightened, where they are exposed and they know what exactly to do with your children. 21st century skills are no longer emphasized in our educational system. What we do is rote learning. Get in there, get thoughts, cram it, sit for exams, pass, and then move on. So it is like a factory. This is not what it should be. This is not what it should be. So if our employers can change their mindset, can change their style of leadership or management, it will rub off on the employees. Because some of these employees come to us very fresh, very naive, and they depend on us to train them. They depend on us to set the ball rolling. And when they don't see these qualities, they also have a future to pursue. When you don't show them a clear picture, hey bro, I don't care whether you stay here in this school with me for the next 20 years. All I want you to do is to discover who you are and what you want to become. So our employers are afraid of their employees becoming greater than they are. So they do everything they can to withhold the incentives or the proceeds from you. And then you find people jumping from jobs to jobs, from one place to the other, not because they don't know what they want, but because you have not given them a reason to stay. I can tell you the number of organizations or educational institutions who offer pensions, insurance, and other incentives. Most of them, teachers run only on basic salary, which the average is about 25,000 in the States. Whether you are a BSc holder or whatever, this is not healthy for our system. So when you find them grumbling, sometimes they cannot help it. I know it is not a healthy mindset. If we can start correcting it from the educational institution, that it is not all about gratification, what you get from the school, but you have to develop a healthy work mindset, a positive attitude to work, come what may. And if you're here and you'd like to say to you to hang in there, take your eyes away from what you're going to get from that. Know that you have a capacity. Know that you have a future to pursue. I'm giving testimony of what I'm saying to you. If you keep your eyes on the big picture, I can assure you, you will get there. Please, I want to add a little to what the justice said about legacies. And I'll give it to our right honorable Olofio. I don't know how he did it, but when I met his children, I was blown away. They are disciplined, they are intelligent, they are self-driven. You don't need to give them an instruction twice before they obey you. And I wonder, I know their father is very busy. How did he achieve this? His son is an excellent replica of his father. Everything you see in him, I'm not saying this because he's here. Everything you see in him, that is what you find in his son. And I wonder, how did he find the time to do that? For our business owners, you have to start from when they are young. If you are into any business or you run an organization, don't be focused on getting the proceeds to train them and send them overseas. Get them to understand the rudiments of your business. It is very important. You may feel they are too young to know. I have children I work with who tell me I don't care about school. After all, this book I read, I just stress myself about it. My daddy's mansion, he has told me it's for me. The magic park behind the house, he has told me it's for me. He has told me everything. Please do not give everything away too soon. I'm sure the child is going to inherit everything. Each time they come back to you, tell them to learn to
do everything at once. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. Put your hands together for her. Put your hands together for her, please. I'm pressed for time. I really would. I don't like doing this part. Then we'll have to keep to time. Usoro. I may not know your story exactly, but I know you're an Akwa Ibom. I know you did not start from the top. I know you started somewhere. How is it that this mindset thing didn't affect you? How did you meander? How did you circumvent? And how can we, the rest of us, do same?
So while I agree with all of the perspectives that we share, my perspective about the final person, I have different. A lot of what I hear about the Akwa Ibom people is what I hear about Nigeria in general, right? And that's when an average Nigerian talks about Nigeria. But when you look at Nigeria on the global stage, it's also different. In NTN, we always say a Nigerian employee is the most sought after employee. Most countries would prefer Nigeria. In fact, in NTN, they tell you until you've been to Nigeria to understand the work ethic and how driven an average Nigerian is, that's when you are ready for true leadership position. Right?
That's a good place to start, ladies and gentlemen.
Right? So my perception is somewhat different. While I understand, and it's good that we continuously emphasize this, that we continuously challenge ourselves to do better. But I think when we compare that Nigerian to an average African, they will tell you we're self-driven, we're very hardworking, and it's something we need to just continuously, maybe it's competitions like this that continuously challenge us to be better. On a personal note, to your question. So I left Uyo here for Lagos. My parents have lived in Lagos for a long time. And the first thing I realized was you need to be competitive, right? I remember I served in camp, and in camp, I realized that the average person in camp, the average person from the West in camp, did not come to the camp with just their certificates. They had professional qualifications already. If you meet an accountant, you already had ICANN 2-3 stages. If you met an IT person, you already, and I studied IT, you already had a couple of certifications. So for me, it was clear that for you to be able to compete, no one would hand you any gifts, vouchers. You needed to be very competitive. And I think at the heart of it, that was what I just tried to do, to ensure that I am as good as the next person next door.
So do you think we do not have that age? We are not competitive here, we are laid back?
I don't. So at times I tell, what I always say is, see, you can send a kid to Harvard. Okay? But if you do not imbibe that spirit of ambition, that spirit of saying, see, I can be the best, and you want to. And you see, I always ask the question when I sit down and I interview people. At times, those basic questions of where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, right? Or a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's a difference in saying I want to be an engineer than saying I want to be the best engineer. There's a fundamental difference to it. And so it's back to that mindset that we have people who are driven and ambitious, and wherever you find yourself, you are striving to be the best at it.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Solo. Thank you. We'll move over to the second point I have, and then we'll start to engage our guests because I have barely 15 minutes. I'll try to get to time. Building trust. Restoring trust. Restoring trust. And I want to start with you. Restoring trust. I know you've had instances where you've had dealings with persons in Akwa Ibom. I think I know one. But I know you have several instances where you've dealt with persons in Akwa Ibom. And you feel this person would have done better. I trusted you. I expected you to do better than this. So how do you think what can we do to make this trust factor? Because I believe in working together, the most important thing would be trust. So how do you think we can restore this trust?
That's a tall order. Because I think it all boils down to character. That's now the thing is, like you said,
sorry, just take 1 minute.
That's so, okay. I've had instances where the way I thought this venture or this relationship with an employee, or I thought it would go this way and it went that way. And where it hurt most was the fact that I know that I entered that relationship not to take an advantage of that person. But it turns out that, so how to restore trust? I think it all boils down eventually to each and every one of us seeing ourselves not as a pawn on the other person's chessboard. I am not a pawn to be used. I am not to be conquered. I am to work with you, and together we conquer vices that are fighting all of us as a people. When I do not see you as an enemy or a potential somebody who can potentially take from me, as my growth does not mean your downfall, then it changes the way that I don't have to lose for you to win. We have to come to terms with that. Yes, competition, but he stated something, not being an engineer, but being the best engineer that Usoro can be. Not the engineer that is better than Claire so that I will shine more than Claire. If I am the best of me and he's the best of me, remember that I said we should serve ourselves to serve the community.
Thank you. Let me go to Justice Okana. Justice Okana, please, respectfully, just 1 minute. How do we restore trust?
Let me look at the legal profession, for example, and the rabbi will testify to this. You brief a lawyer to do something for you. That lawyer cuts corners. At the end of the day, that thing is not done. You can never go back to me. You can never go back to me. There's a lawyer you brief. Your brief is not perfect. He delivers and he protects you. Everybody will go to him. That is why you find some legal practitioners. Their clientele is so low. So low. And Rabon knows a number of lawyers who come to the police station who cannot be trusted. I'm sorry to say this. He also knows those who come and tell him, my client is not doing this, and he believes them. Why? Because of the way they have related with him over time. You know a man who is telling the truth as a professional.
Okay. So in specifics, what can...
Now, in specifics, it goes back to character.
Okay.
Character. When you leave your house as a young man, did your parents teach you anything? See, look at the commendation that lady is saying about one of your those children. If your children leave your house and they are liars, they remain liars outside. There's no changing it. We must train our children. We must cause them to imbibe attitudes that can service the community. See, look at the name of this community. Community stakeholders for good. If your child is a bad one, cannot fit into this community. As simple as that.
Thank you very much, Justice. Thank you so much. We're going to take, everyone is going to take 1 minute so we talk about rebuilding a sustainable community. That's what all of this is about. Okay, you want to say something about trust?
About trust.
In just 1 minute, please.
Thank you. You don't buy trust.
Okay.
You earn trust. For me, trust is beyond just speaking. It's you acting what you speak. And someone said this to me at Ikwa under a local government. I was really challenged because I thought my authority was based on the uniform and the rank I carry. I found out I was not able to display it in this age and time. Somebody was murdered and the community rounded up the suspects. 3 of them were arrested. Sent my men and they said they will not release those men because they don't trust the uniform. But you see, when I got to the scene, the youth leader and those who mobilized said, we do not trust your uniform, but we trust your person. Those things you said, those promises you sold out, you have stood by it. Just giving credence to what Usoro said, what's your selling point? Do you say something? Can you say somebody good morning and the person goes out and find out it's good evening? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Put your hands together for the respectful CSP. I'll start with Usoro. Usoro, rebuilding a sustainable community. You spoke about businesses and concerned. Because for businesses in Akwa Ibom State, how do we move from being the regular, sole proprietorship to something that is scalable, to something that can attract investment and all that? How do we rebuild our community? Speak from the business perspective, Usoro, please.
I think that's what my presentation was about. So I I thought I generously covered that subject. Yeah, so I wouldn't add more to it. I wouldn't do like that.
Okay. So we'll move on to Mustafa. Mustafa, rebuilding a sustainable community.
Okay, well, it's been shared already. I'll add my voice to it. Talking about the issue of trust, I see it as one of the capital that we need as far as business is concerned. And let me say, with respect to employer-employee relationship, if you did promise or you did say in the letter of employment, which most employees around don't have, but you did say to them you're going to pay them X or Y amount, pay them that money, whether you make profit or not. They didn't invite you into business. They did their own part, pay them their money, and don't owe them their salary. Then you make a promise. If you contribute this much, we're going to do that for you. And when that time comes, you don't do it. So they also will begin to do it for themselves wrongly, even though it's not right. That's the problem. So let's learn as employers to keep to our word, and if possible, document it so you can be committed to it. And then for the employee who violates, let the law take its place.
Thank you very much. In just 1 minute, rebuilding a sustainable community.
We can rebuild trust in our community by communicating. A lot of times, things go wrong and then there are assumptions. And then I'll give a typical scenario. There was a time something went wrong in my place of work, and then somebody went to our directors and misrepresented the whole thing. I wasn't there. But the response of my directors to this person shocked me. The directors told this person, what you're saying does not sound like Mrs. Anyama. And then when they called me, I gave my own side of the story. That was how that matter died. And where is that person today? He was laid off after some time because we found that he was in the habit of backstabbing and pulling people down. If my directors did not communicate or give me an opportunity to explain, I don't know what it would have turned out to be. For you to build trust, there must be communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Jaga, please.
Rebuilding sustainable community. I think I'll just hold on to the word rebuilding. I'll start from there. For that to happen, it means that every one of us here is involved in doing that. Just like you have a building to be built, the architect can't do it alone. So while we think it is something one person has to do, I just want us to start looking at it from the point that we are all responsible if we are to rebuild. Now, from an employer-employee part, I wrote something down this morning because thinking about this, okay, what role will I play in this rebuilding this kind of environment, sustainable business, economy, and all we're thinking about? And I say, and for the employer, your profit, your measuring of your profit should not just be the growth of your balance sheet. Your measuring of your profit should also be the growth of the human capital under your service, because that in turn adds to this rebuilding we are all talking about. As an employee, your measurement of what you have gained from a place should not just be the benefits you're taking out, but everything that you have been equipped with to add to your building this sustainable community. That way it will be a walk in the park for all of us if we all put that our one block to the building we're trying to build. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Stacey.
As you said, by saying I'm a living example. Talking about the hostile environment. My job sometimes appears to be hostile. But you see, I don't write anyone off. I believe that there is something inherent to everyone. That is value. Place value everyone you see. And if there's anything I'm driving out for, if I can lead it, you can believe. I'm trying to replicate my value. So let's go for the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not very valuable to leave a policeman says there is something good in everybody. I don't know if you know.
See people as suspects.
So did you say we?
We, like guys are in the house.
Oh, okay.
So we presume everyone is innocent until.
Okay. Even if they have dreadlocks? Let me just
D division was a model. That's all. Did you try to replicate D division across the state? That's the problem. Because when we are talking of sustainability, and I go in Akwa Ibom, he gave me a household name. And you see, let me recall how I met this man. I went to Abuja, met a pastor, who's an architect, wanted to buy land there. He was at an hotel where that man was. And he gave me a note back to me in Rio. Almost about 12 years now. Quite a decade. And subsequently, anybody, any brother that goes there behaves differently. The other goes to this other side. It's not a war. Why?
So when you say this other side, do you mean like?
I'm
just saying.
Why? They have set a standard. They have set a standard. During the NSAS panel, it was only the division. Elected a senior police officer. I treated the wife and put him in custody.
Wow.
Only the division this day. And when the matter came before the panel, we discovered that those outside of the division wanted to kill the matter. So you can imagine. In other words, the division board is imprint as to what the police should do. Neutral. Sad thing is, about failure to replicate that. I believe, even in this new position, we will find something to do so that there's a multiplier effect across the state. We should be able to trust other policemen to trust him. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Justice Ukana, for Mr. Usoro, for CSP Arabo, for Mr. Ahmed Mustafa, Mrs. Jaja, and Queen Esther, can we put our hands together? Thank you so much. Please just hold on for a brief moment. If there are questions, I can take just two. I can take just two. Mr. Basil Valentine, please just step forward. I've taken someone from you, so we'll just take someone. 4 questions. Are you kidding me? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mr. please. Can we get a microphone to her, please? We'll take all the questions. If you have a preferred person you're addressing the question to, you let us know. We can hear you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for this session. Now, I'm coming to you first, Mary, forgive me, I don't know right now. Is there a particular thing you saw in this state that made you pitch your tent here? I'm saying that because my streets is flooded with new people doing the regular businesses, only differently. There are people who are still complaining of no jobs. Both in this state is populated by the people that just listen to and Yorubas. But my brothers is still saying there are no jobs. So I'm trying to understand what you saw that made you decide to relocate and stay here. That's one. And I'll be asking you because you say we should be open in our businesses. How much do I communicate to my employee about the costing of a particular transaction?
Everything, my dear.
It can't be everything. And how will I control that greed of that person wanting to take 50-50 when we didn't put in the same engines? And lastly, I was president of an organization and I had trouble handing over to the next person. How do we get our people to take up leadership positions and not be afraid of the responsibilities and duties that come with this? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, because our questions are plenty, I think we should address our own first before we forget answers. Okay. Please, just 1 minute.
So, my answer is not one that has to do with so I came in and distracted me and that thing. It was more of the story of Abraham. Go there and we obey.
It was spiritual. I don't know what is going on. I think Mustafa.
Okay, she asked me a question. And now, the point is this, in every organization there are different levels. There are different levels. the people who are just at the base there, that certain information you shouldn't make available to them because it would destroy the organization. But as people grow in the organization and their contribution level increases, let's say you have a manager who knows your bottom line and you're pretending to your manager like all is not well, and you're not giving your manager his due, whatever he or she deserves, you're actually destroying the organization. In such times, we should be transparent. Now, I usually also say that up front, let's have an agreement. Let's be clear about what you should expect and what I should expect. If I expect otherwise of our agreement, then I'm greedy. If we agree on salary and you make a profit of ₦1 billion, your salary of 30,000 naira is what we agreed to. If I decide to do anything otherwise for you, it's out of my benevolence. Now, you do not have a right to look at my ₦1 billion profit and complain. If you do have a reason to complain, let's come back to a round table if you do have such an opportunity. And so when we have an agreement, I should keep to it. That way we're transparent. They don't let out your vital information to those who should have such.
Okay, I'm sure Soro can handle the leadership question. Do you want to? How can we get other persons that work with us to own up or to rise to the occasion and take leadership opportunities?
So see, we need to change perception or the mindset around what leadership is. The way I always tell people in my office is leadership is about sacrifice. Forget what leadership has become, where leaders typically are the ones that seemingly enjoy privileges. An ideal leader is one that sacrifices for the rest. And that's why I tell consistently what I tell my team is, see, the way to rise to the position of authority is not waiting until they assign you a title. It's the guy that sacrifices the most that becomes the leader. Right? Everyone defers to you. Imagine you walk into a meeting and you're the one that elect to say, I will take the minutes. You make that sacrifice. By taking minutes and I'm being accountable to everybody and following up with everybody on the action points of the minutes, you already are taking the leadership position beyond the little position that you were. You'll be the one who go and walk up to the head of the department. This was being said against you. Why haven't you done it? I need to update it. That's leadership. That's power. So to become a leader, you first need to sacrifice. Not even first. You need to consistently maintain that position of your sacrificing for the benefit of others.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You see, I also believe that organizations should have a structure where if someone was supposed to enter into a particular office because there are offices, we should be able to begin to groom them intentionally. But when it is time to hand over office and you're not looking around for who to take over, they wouldn't. Like he said, when such people throw themselves up naturally, we can begin to do direct mentorship for them because we still have to have some person occupy offices.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Put our hands together. Thank you so much indeed. We'll take. Okay, let's just take all the questions at once. Please come. The guy in white, please come down. Just come down so we can make it real quick. One question, please. Just one question. Don't be like say.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. The NDPZ president, delegates.
Please start the question. Start the question. Leave the members.
My name is Gabriel Zero. And I have been here listening to all the panelists. We have heard stories about failed communities, failed businesses, and probably failed governance. But there is a fundamental aspect of our discussion that I have not heard. And this is the microcosm of the community itself, the family. I have not heard us talk about failed families. I have not heard us talk about failed parenting. I have not heard us talk about the role the family plays for us as community stakeholders. Of course, there are families that just...
Okay, so you want us to talk about failed families. We don't have all the time, sir. You cannot make a presentation, sir. You cannot make a presentation, sir, please. Okay, so you want to ask why we've not talked about the failed families? Or you want us to talk about that?
I just want to ask a question.
Which is?
That what is the role
Of the family.
Of the family
In
community stakeholding?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nancy would like to answer that, but then, Nancy, just hold that thought. Let's take other questions, and we'll come to you to respond. Please come to the corridor. Just come to the corridor. Come to the aisle. Just hold. Straight to the point, please. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, good afternoon. My question is this. Unfortunately, we will not mention anything about the oil and gas here.
Okay.
So I have to throw this question also. In Akwa Ibom, we have scaffolders, we have riggers, we have welders, we have fitters, we have so many professions. These are good guys, these are competent workers. But unfortunately, we find ourselves in a disadvantage. My question now is, why do we have to go to Port Harcourt to search for jobs that are in Akwa Ibom? Can't we search for the jobs in Akwa Ibom? Why do we have to go to Port Harcourt, thereby being at a disadvantage? Because the River State government in 2002 enacted a law that rivers first. You have to be employed rivers first before any other person. So why should we still go there and be looking for jobs in Akwa Ibom? Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to let Right Honorable Ofiok address that when he's making his presentation. Yes, for very strategic purposes, please. Okay, we'll take the very last question. The last, yes. Let's go.
Good afternoon.
Please, straight to the question, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all my panelists. While I was sitting down and I listened keenly to when you talked about, one of the panelists talked about how she came to Akwa Ibom with the husband, and she discovered that the place was not like business oriented. So my question is, I want to base my question on because I've heard all the discussion about jobs.
So the question is?
I'm coming to my question.
Please come.
About jobs, employee, and whatsoever. So while I was sitting down,
the question is,
I did not hear anything about how do you help those who want to create job to succeed.
Okay.
Because personally, I just kept my certificate. I just made up my mind that I don't want to look for a job. I want to do something. But I found out that the environment, the Akwa Ibom environment is very difficult to rise.
Okay.
Because, sorry, I'm coming. I want the right honorable when he was a speaker. Sorry. When he was a speaker, there was a bill in the House of Assembly. They call it the Youth Development Bill. Since that time, that bill is just live for nobody talks about it, and the environment is so hostile.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We understand all other concerns. Thank you so much. I'm sure the honorable member would address some issues, but then let's talk about the microcosm. Please give Mansi the mic. Mansi. Microcosm of the macrocosm. Another innuendos.
I quickly want to address the person that talked about parenting. The key thing is about we've been taking this reviews about parenting in Akwa Ibom State and our community. Today is not a place where we're going to bash parents, but on 27th of May we have the first Akwa Ibom Parenting Conference coming up, led by Mrs. Akwa. Yes. And that is a community stakeholder saying, see, let's talk parents and children. Let's talk transgenerational businesses. let's talk intergenerational businesses, let's talk like Mrs. Esther Yamo said, how children of the great can be as responsible as their fathers in the community. Note the words, as responsible as their fathers. So if they have fathers that are thieves, how can they be as responsible? That is just to say, but that's what's happening at that conference. And I think it addresses that so that we don't move out of the context. And then also in responding to just a little bit in saying, in talking about the bills and all that, and he's right to ask all that, but then we're also re-saying that we are not targeting people, we're targeting questions that issue development solutions for us as private sector people. And in responding to that, I say again, that if we can retake back, if we can restore trust in the private business stakeholders, we can take back community and help people that want to create jobs. Mr. Usoro can trust me and trust his money into my business if he can trust me in the community. So we need to even build our status, we need to build our structure. He comes and says, show me a booklet that shows me what you have made so far. And you keep going through your phone, so let me show you a legs. And let is not a booklet. Okay, show me, what are your staff? You don't want, you write 50,000, your staff say you pay them 30,000. You owe your staff and you go around telling us how you pay them. And those are the things that will make you invest in my business. If you say you're paying taxes, how did you pay? Where's the document? Where is it to show? If we can rebuild that trust in private stakeholders, then we can create jobs. But sorry, it's not just Mrs. Sorry, you can get from Mrs. Jaja too.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Sorry, please say a word. Thank you. Say something.
Sorry.
So for me, it's always about the two C's when I take or when I encourage people to take investment decisions. And it's about, is the person credible and is he competent? Yeah, is the convergence of those two things. You can find somebody who is competent, but if he's not credible, trust me, it's going to eat your money. Yeah. Right? And if he's credible and not competent, it's a problem. So it's really the convergence of those two. And that investment principle, when people invest beyond the product, even if you have the smartest product, it is the person, first and foremost, the management team and the people. Because guess what? More often than not, your first idea would fail. But if this person is smart and competent enough, and also credible, that he would find something else to be able to innovate and pivot that business into. So bottom line is really those two things, competence and credibility.
All right, thank you very much. Competence and credibility, of course. Thank you very much. Okay, Mrs. Jada will just...
I think I just want to take the person who talked about going to Port Harcourt to look for jobs rather than them getting here in Akwa Ibom State. I have worked with so many artisans. I'm not in the oil and gas industry, but when you mention welders and all of that, I've worked with a lot of artisans, and there is a general attitude and service delivery mindset of these artisans. It is, I showed up, pay me my money. It's as simple as that. It's coming, strolling in at 11 o'clock for a job that you are getting paid for the day and expecting to get paid by 4 o'clock for a full day's job. So as much as you have the people who can do all these things, it's how you do them. Now that's one side to it. The other side to it is, I have noticed something that I don't understand the mindset behind it, but it is so prevalent that some people, not everybody, some Akwa Ibom folks would rather go to Lagos and buy something and transport it down to Akwa Ibom when they could walk to a store in Akwa Ibom and purchase it, just to own that status of, I brought it from Lagos. The same product, the same service, the same everything. But that cloud of, I brought it in from Lagos, I think is the added peg to their buying decision. So for you, sir, if you would stand out with you are a tiler, for goodness sake, I don't understand why you would tile without a plumb.
I don't understand why you will not measure straight lines when you tie. I don't understand why you won't fill with your white cement, and when somebody comes in, you won't need to go to Port Harcourt to look for jobs when your delivery is top notch. That's where.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Justice Ukana. Put your hands together for CSP Rabo, for Mrs. Jaja, for Mrs. Ayam, also for Mustafa. And kindly just step forward. Let's just step forward and do a group photograph together, please. Let's just step forward. 2 steps forward, please. So we can do a group photograph. And then we're done. Thank you so much. I can enter back.